Patriots have released their first injury report ahead of Super Bowl 52, and Rob Gronkowski was listed with a concussion that he suffered Sunday against the Jags. Gronk's injury happened late in the second quarter with the Patriots down by 11, and they came back to win without him. Bill Belichick was asked about Gronk's status yesterday. Let's take a listen.
Can you give us an update on Rob Gronkowski? Has he finished his concussion protocol? Do you expect him to play?
Yeah, we'll be compliant with the NFL injury report, and when that's required, we'll put it on there.
When is that process completed, finished?
When's what process finished?
The concussion report,
whatever his situation is, whatever his status is, we'll put it on the injury report. We'll make sure the first one to get it.
I'm sure you will. Do you expect him to play?
Not a problem.
Do you expect him to play?
We'll put it right on the injury report, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Just like everybody else does. Well, make sure you're first on the list too, Stacey.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I don't want to hold anything back here. Get that out there right away.
I know you don't.
That's all we can do.
We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Welcome, Greg. Good morning.
Good morning.
First, Skip, how much do the Patriots need Gronk?
Greg Jennings. My friend Shannon Sharp across the table has pushed my button on this and finally angered me, and I've gone completely, perhaps, over the edge. But I don't think so. I have thought and thought about this, and I have decided that the Patriots are a little better without Rob Gronkowski. But I will admit that I believe Shannon Sharp is attempting, between the lines, to undercut and discredit Tom Brady's greatness by elevating Rob Gronkowski's greatness, because he's calling this uncoverable monster the greatest receiving force in pro football. And that may be true, but to a fault, I believe Brady becomes Gronk-centric and forces way too many balls to a double-covered Rob Gronkowski. And by the way, I'm just looking at the video a second ago of the ball that he did catch and then got blasted on by Barry Church. That's a forced throw to me. Like, it's, you know what's going to happen. You can just see it. He's doubled, and you throw it, and it works. He caught it, but you know he's set up for the worst, right? It's what the Cowboys used to call a medicine ball. I don't know if you guys ever heard that term. You know, like you throw it up, you just know your receiver is going to pay dearly for that one, right? So, to me, I like them better when it forces Tom to spread the ball. I think they're harder to defend. They're overall more effective without that big beast number 87 running down the middle of the field, because he can't run past you. His yards after catch aren't going to be devastating the way they might be with the Brandon Cooks or really any of the other receivers. And I just look at the numbers. What happened on Sunday? Tom had thrown for 112 yards before Gronk got hurt. No touchdowns, and they trailed 14-3. Then Gronk goes out, and all of a sudden he throws for 178, and they win the rest of the game 21-6. I know you said earlier, yeah, it was only 6, and so Belichick's defense rose and shone from that point on. But Tom Brady scored 21 points without Rob Gronkowski, and he threw the winning touchdown pass to little Danny Amendola, 2 touchdown passes to Danny Amendola. And then I look at last year. Obviously, they did not have Gronk for the last 8 games. They're down 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and I'm suggesting right now that if Gronk is there in that Super Bowl, that Tom's forcing too many balls to a double-covered 87 trying to get back in the game instead of bing, 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 James White, Amendola, Edelman obviously was there, and you're spreading the ball and even harder to defend, and they came back from 28-3 down because in the fourth quarter and overtime, he threw for 246 yards without Gronkowski. So I can just show you he can be a little more effective without Gronk. That's not to discount the greatness of Gronk. It just works a little better with all of his little spare parts that he has, because the sum of the whole of the spare parts is harder to cover than just forcing the ball to 87 in double coverage.
Well said.
Thank you.
Very well said.
And
I
convincing.
agree with you.
Oh.
I do. I don't
Mr.
think
Hall
that
of Fame tight end.
I don't think the Patriots need Rob Gronkowski. They've proven to be able to win with him. To your point, typically when you have a safety net that a quarterback uses as a safety net, you know he's going to go to that guy. He typically locks in on that receiver or that tight end or that player more than what he typically should. And so when I look at what they were able to do last year, James White, Dion Lewis. All these guys were able to step up. Even when you look at them moving forward this year, now Rob Gronkowski, he's going to play.
I assume he will.
He's
Yeah.
gonna. He will play. He missed last year. Every player wants to be missed. And so when he's standing on the sideline and he's looking at his counterparts, does he wish that they're successful? Absolutely. But you, in the back of your mind, I don't care who you are, you want to feel like they need me out there. But what happens when Rob Gronkowski goes out, or any player, Edelman for that matter, it becomes a coaching match. And it becomes about personnel groupings and taking advantage of your matchups. That's what the Patriots do better than any team in the NFL. You'll see more 21 personnel, which means you'll have two running backs, Dion Lewis and James White, coming out of the backfield, putting pressure on those linebackers, making them cover them, versus the two tight ends, which is 12 personnel, one back, two tight ends, or 11 personnel, three receivers. So you have so many different personnel that you have to now commit to, which, again, it allows for so many other players to now come into the fold, and now you have to focus on an array of players and personnel groupings versus one player. Now, having said all that, they would love to have him. They want him to play.
But
he wants to play. But they don't need him to play. I wouldn't even go as far as saying they are a better team with him. Defensively, when you're scheming, it's a greater challenge, I believe, when you have Rob Gronkowski on the field, just because when you have a player that requires more than one guy to give attention to, you change your whole scheme. You're telling me one guy is going to take two of your guys' attention. That leaves everybody else practically one-on-one. That's where Tom Brady is at his best. And I think with Rob Gronkowski out, it spreads everything out, it opens everything up, and now you have to cover everybody, because everybody now is a viable option any given play, specifically in the red zone.
When I look at it, Tom doesn't need anybody. We've seen him go to a Super Bowl, go to and win a Super Bowl without Gronk. We see him back again without Julian Edelman. I mean, when you look at it, he hadn't had the success when he's won Super Bowls. He hadn't had no dynamic. He hadn't had a Julio Jones. The one time he had Randy Moss, they didn't win it. They lost the Super Bowl.
And by the way, the last time they played the Eagles, somebody stole the MVP from Tom Brady named Deion Branch. Remember that?
Yeah.
He didn't deserve the MVP. Tom did. But go ahead.
And when you look at it, his interception rate, Skip, is lower throwing to Gronk than any other receiver because of that huge catch radius. He doesn't have to be perfect. You can throw the ball 9, 10 feet high, and because he's 6'7", we got to realize, unless there's a defensive end guarding him down the field, he's going to be bigger than everybody else that's guarding him down the field. What he allows you to do is that he allows you, the ceiling is so much higher when Gronk is in the ball game. And as you mentioned, Greg, and I said this earlier, you will pay two guys on him. You better, because if you single him, he will hurt you. And what that does is that now that 5-yard completion that went to James White and Dion Lewis is 10 because the guys are further down the field because they got to pay closer attention to Gronk. Two things can be true. Gronk is a great player. Their ceiling is higher when he's in the lineup. That doesn't diminish Tom Brady. Tom Brady is still great, Skip. I think sometimes we get to the point that we say, well, Tom Brady is only great because of Gronk. No, Tom Brady was great before he even knew Gronk was. He won 3 Super Bowls. He was a league MVP, unanimous, went to all these Pro Bowls. So even if you just take his career pre-Gronk, he's arguably the best quarterback. Well, he's, worst case 2 behind Joe Montana, even pre-Gronk. Now you add Gronk to the mix and you add what he's accomplished since Gronk has been there. It's hard to argue that, Skip. I'm not trying to diminish Tom Brady. You can't even if you try. You can't.
Although I'm as sick of hearing about this as most people are hearing about Tom Brady, but I've heard now for years, oh, it's unfair for Tom Brady. He has the biggest advantage in the NFL in the red zone because it's game over. You just throw it up to 87 and he snatches it. The play of the game the other day against Jacksonville came from the 4-yard line. And I must admit, I'm obviously a Brady fan. I didn't know if he could get the ball in the end zone because, as you know, you pack it in, you got extreme athletes. You got freakish athletes everywhere on that defense.
Windows are smaller. They're not worried about you running go routes because you're going to run up in the stands.
And you do not have an 87 anymore. You got all little guys. And he hit the littlest guy along the back line. And it's just such a great throw and catch. It was a really good catch. But the degree of difficulty on that throw was extreme, but Brady's not going to get credit for it. Like, oh, ho-hum, he did it again. Well, he didn't throw it to 87, right?
Right. But the thing was, Skip, if you look, they lost sight of Edelman. Amendola, because he's running on the back of the end zone, and Gibson's looking like, I'm like, dude, that's the one thing that I love about the Patriots is that they don't give up on a play. Because they're going to fight you all the way down. If they can push you out of bounds, well, maybe you only get 1 foot. Because what if Gibson's closer and he pushes him out of bounds? He only gets 1 foot in bounds. But he gave up on the play, and he started looking like, what happened? Okay, yeah, one of the linebackers should have sunk deeper because there was not underneath coverage. So both of you guys didn't need to be on the end line. And that's what people don't understand. If you let the guy catch the ball in the end zone, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, what I noticed, even in that AFC Championship game, was once Gronkowski left the field, you saw Tom Brady having to hold the ball a little bit longer. And that allows your defensive line to now create even more pressure. But what it does is it puts pressure on your defensive backs to cover longer.
Yes.
And it tells me that, okay, when Rob Gronkowski is in there, Brady is, when he is in doubt, I gotta go to Gronk. I gotta go to Gronk. I can go to him. I don't have to. There's no reason for me to hold the ball a few ticks longer. But when he's not available to me, I have to make sure I allow these guys to uncover and force the defensive teams and units to cover longer. That's what that play in the back goal line. Any quarterback makes that play. Athletic quarterback. You don't expect Tom to continue to extend the play that long without a Rob Gronkowski because you know he's just going to put it up and let him make a play. But to your point, to both of your points, in the red zone is where he's missed most.
Even Tom thought he overthrew him. You saw Tom's eyes when he threw the ball. He was like, I overthrew him. He didn't think that. He didn't think Amendola.
You're still trying to discredit him.
No. I'm saying Skip, when you 5'8", 5'9" guy, Skip. I mean, you don't have a 10-foot catch radius. So, you got to be a little bit more perfect in that area.
Or 5'11"?
Who?
I feel like we're always cutting inches off people.
What do they list him
him with Isaiah Thomas.
What do they list him as? He's an inch shorter than what they list him.
5'11". I agree with you.
Whatever they list him as.
Either way, it was a great catch. Greg, thanks for joining us. Is it time to get excited about another Tiger Woods comeback? We'll discuss that next.